I was kicked out of the house of the false daughter, finally starved to death because of garbage. I just want to save enough money before the real daughter comes back. So I set my sights on the widowed prince. After some hot pursuit, he finally let up. See, countless money will crash down. I want to die happy. Until the real prince was recognized back. Fu Yuchen and was driven out together that day. The sky is still under light rain. His clothes and mine were thrown out, naked on the floor. I hit the ground on my knees and cried my eyes out. Family, who knows? We're picking up trash again. Damn, Fu Yuchen is still loading 13. Cry what? I am not cannot afford you. You can't afford me. You can't afford me. Fu Yuchen first saw me so sad, rare to hold me to leave. I am still rational, choked with sobs. Take your clothes and shoes with you. I thought he would understand my kindness, but he actually laughed at me. Kong hee hee, how quickly did you get used to the role of a poor man? I shed tears and gave him a look I could understand. Alas, a young man like him, who has just been thrown out of the house, may not be aware of what is about to happen. It won't be long before he'll be crying under the covers just like I was. His face was rigid, as if he were surprised by my appearance. Don't cry. I'll buy you a new one later. Oh, he's so naive. We can't afford these clothes anymore. I put away the clothes at the door and walked away in his strange and twisted eyes. I'm taking him to the spot where I slept in my last life. It was given to me by a crippled beggar. Fu Yuchen looked at me confusedly as I walked under the bridge, holding me back. What are you doing in a place like that? It's dirty. I, sadly looking at a face of doubt, he explained words have an export. A luxury car suddenly appeared in front of me and Fu Yuchen. The rear door opened, obviously to meet me and Fu Yuchen. I suddenly realized something and took his arm in excitement. Do you still have a lot of money? His face was red for some reason, and he looked away. You're delusional. A friend of mine helped me. So that's it. I let him go in frustration. To his friend to provide the house, Fu Yuchen grabbed the clothes in my hand, thrown in the trash. I cried like a kettle, scolded him as a black sheep, regardless of will pick up again. He took hold of me and gnashed his teeth. Pretending to be poor and pretending to be addicted? The garbage can. The green garbage can. I hate the trash can. I now actually do not hate it, and even want to kiss up too. Fu Yuchen seemed to be my appearance to do not stand, pulled me in. Inside, my tears flowed again. Impatient, he kissed the tears off my face and unbuttoned my shirt rudely. Why cry? Do something fun. Think of this, I feel more sad. Straight cry. Not long ago, I took pains with my innocence to get a name from him. He was startled by my reaction and looked at me in amazement. What's wrong with you? I wanted to bite my finger and whimper, but at last I couldn't help myself. Money, money, my money. Gone, gone. Fu Yunchen's face twisted. You didn't come to me expecting to be thrown out, did you? I wanted to nod, but looked at him. A pair of mountain rain is coming. I carefully shook his head. No. He rubbed my head with a dark smile in his eyes. Good, then go on. With shaking hands, I untied his clothes and offered to take them up. Good. Money did not earn, but also to find their own high-maintenance ancestors. I really want to go out to eat a few pounds of garbage to calm down. Thoughts so planted to Fu Yuchen body. Did NT think things have a turn? When I was looking for my clothes in the garbage can, the one thing that had been on the radar of my benefactors appeared. He clutches my reddened hand from the trash. Cece, how can you live so bitterly? I wanted to throw myself into his arms and whimper, but I swallowed hard and said, Brother Agan, I'm all right. Yunshin, he's very kind to me and hasn't abused me at all. Say, my tears seemed to be unable to suppress the flow down and accidentally revealed the arm on the blue and scarring teeth on the collarbone. Arm is accidentally hit. The collarbone is Fu Yunshin bite. But weak road let's don't know. He loves dearly bad. Hurriedly hugged me in the past. Jiang Sisi. My body freezes. Small animal intuition makes me immediately push away in front of the man. Fu Yunshin, carrying a bag of things near, stared at a weak Tillet. Put me away. Zhou Lu let reluctant eyes always follow me. Back home, Fu Yunshin let go of my hand in disgust and threw me a bag. Don't dig in the trash anymore. I asked in surprise, "Where did you get the money? Is he unwilling to become a false prince, deliberately loan the money?" Blushing again, he explained hurriedly, "Don't get me wrong, my friend borrowed it from me. There's a hole in my heart. This spendthrift thing has not earned money, has played a loan. It seems not far from the loan." I persisted in asking him how his job search was going. He shook his head indifferently, saying that the job would be found sooner or later, and that he wanted to rest during this period. Rest? That's why you don't want to work. Night. When Fu Yunchen saw me running away from God, he bit me viciously. "What are you thinking? You're broke and you look like this." I started to cry again. He sighs helplessly. "Rest assured, you will not starve to death." I cried even louder. I not only want to support myself, but also Fu Yunchen, who doesn't want to do anything. Zhou Lu and I hooked up. Go out to have coffee with him every day and listen to some tunes. He knows my current predicament and will offer to send me money. Looking at the rising balance, I only hate myself why I didn't choose him. Fu Yunchen saw me go out all day and became suspicious. I told him I was making money to support him and me, and pulled out a cheap $9.90 tie. He looked at the tie with a mixed expression, hesitated, and took it. "Don't buy it in the future. It would be a waste of money. I feel guilty. Do not waste, do not waste." He suddenly hugged me. The voice is very low. "Hard, Cece." I stiff smile. "Not hard, not hard. It is Zhou Lu who has worked so hard." Tonight's Fu Yunchen did not force me, but especially gentle, as if I was his baby. I was flattered, and in my heart it was useless to call anything useless. Usually few words and sharp-tongued he, for the first time in my ear, said a lot of words. I was blushing with shame, feeling tonight is what 11. Finally, he coaxed me to come again. I was surprised and baffled by his transformation. Zhou Lu left suddenly, and I talked about the recent rise of a company. Said the company was previously unknown, but suddenly emerged in a short period of time. I shook my head in ignorance. He suddenly grabbed my hand, bowed his head, and said, "Cece, give me a chance." Seeing that the time had come, I made a deliberate struggle and finally said yes. Zhou Lu, let very happy, said to Fu Yunchen a sum of money, also will help him find a suitable job. I breathed a sigh of relief, promised, and Fu Yunchen off clean. Finally, he asked me to come to the company's celebration tomorrow as his girlfriend. I coyly agreed. Just returned home, was held in the arms. Fu Yunchen's voice was aggrieved. "Cece, why did you come back so late? Why doesn't this man know himself?" "I don't come back, of course, is to earn money for you to spend AH." Before I could say a word, he sniffed my clothes. "What do you smell like? Like a man's perfume?" "My boss is talking to me," I explained awkwardly. "I'm staying longer." In fact, it is Zhou Lu's hug and kiss that make him unable to control himself. He kissed my face sadly. "Don't go to work tomorrow. I'll support you." I opened my mouth to talk about the breakup, and he brought it to the table. It was full of dishes that he had learned from the internet. I noticed that he had a band-aid on his hand. I couldn't say anything when I saw his expression of eager anticipation of my tasting. When he finally got up the nerve to say it, he somehow pulled out a ring. And, of course, put it on me, and my words didn't come out. Looking out of the window of the moonlight, I faintly sighed. He'll know all about it when the party is over tomorrow and the news media publishes it. Fu Yunchen suddenly put his arms around me from behind. "Honey, come home early from work tomorrow. My friend invited us to a party." I answered a voice at will, also in the heart to say bye-bye to Fu Yunchen. It was late when I appeared at the party, arm in arm with Zhou Lu Jin. The host had gone nowhere. I hid in the corner to pick up the boring mobile phone, but found from Fu Yunchen 99+ do not disturb the message. Still posting, even wondering if I was kidnapped or in a car accident. I forced myself to send a breakup message and told him that I had put the ring under my pillow. Then pulled black a dragon. Zhou Lu leant forward to hug me affectionately and took out a small box. "Cece, open it and see if you like it." When I reached for it, there was a noise in the hall. A group of men in suits were carrying a man who was struggling to leave. Zhou Lu and I looked at it doubtfully. Fu Yuchen impatient panic face out, also wearing the cheap tie I sent. Zhou Lu let stunned. I also stunned. Fu Yuchen? He came to the party too? Did you make a mistake and get caught? Zhou Lu let me have a look. Let me stay here. Go to rescue him. Somehow, he came back halfway. Take off your coat, put it over my head, and pull me away. I squirmed. Aegon, what's wrong? He was silent and tense. The murmur of the crowd grew louder, mingled with exclamations. I was Zhou Lu let pull the pace is not stable, the more uneasy. Behind him came the sound of men's screams and cries of pain. Near the door, my mobile phone rang suddenly. The noisy crowd suddenly completely quieted down. Zhou Lu let suddenly picked me up and left at full speed. Get them. The door of the bodyguard blocking the door, Zhou Lu let hold me hit several times. Did NT get out? I groaned painfully under my suit jacket. He was forced to stop and held my head in his arms. My scalp ached, my coat was gone, and I saw the light again. Around is the look of the crowd, but the most eye-catching or livid Fu Yuchen, and one side of the face of the man in a suit. I wanted to say I was sorry about the breakup, but then I heard. Master Fu, is this really the wife you're looking for? Fu Yuchen? President of Boss City Company? I suddenly understood why Cho Lu Jin was so strange. However, seems to be more suitable for Fu Yuchen squatting at home. He scowled. Why don't you come down? Zhou Lurong in provocation. She has broken up with you. He smiled. Really? Kong He, are you with him or with me? Do I have a choice? I was taken away by Fu Yuchen. In a hotel room. He squeezed my chin. With me, it's about the money, right? I held his hand and tried to move it, but I couldn't. He squeezed harder, and I answered earnestly. No, you're too handsome. He was taken aback, as if he didn't expect me to reply. Then he asked again, as if coming to his senses. Zhou Lu gave you all your money, didn't he? Including the tie. I looked at him suspiciously. Why not? I'll save you some money. He seemed to be laughing angrily. Kong He, do you think I'm a fool? I swallowed. He tore off his tie and flung it aside. Throw this one away. Get me a new one. I held out my hand hesitantly. You don't want to use his money, so it's yours. He opened my hand and grimaced. I'll take you to the tailor's in a few days. I want you to make one for me. Sure enough, when you have money, you spend it. Seeing my silence, he took off his coat and loosened his collar. Tonight, let's do something fun. You can't be kidding me? There is no light on in the room. The moonlight outside the window shines quietly in the room, light enough to see the bed on the too closely intertwined figure. A hand clutching the sheet moved up as if to escape. A large hand was then clasped over it, controlling its movements. The temperature in the room seemed to melt me, and my body was too soft for comfort. After Fu Yuchen pulled me back for the third time and didn't give me any pleasure, I wanted to bite off his tongue. I was wet with sweat, hair a wisp of wet to drape over the shoulders. The forehead also has messy hair. Breathing is heavy. He looked uncomfortable, too, with a stoic look on his face that went as far as to say, I laugh, dry voice incomparable. You are punishing me, or in the punishment you do. His voice was hoarse, too. It's not punishment. I feel terrible and I just want to get over it. Looking at his triumphant but miserable expression, I had a sudden flash of inspiration and, with my voice still in my throat, shouted deliberately, Brother Yuchen, give it all to me. His body froze, as if unable to control his pupils, and then began to tremble slightly. I couldn't help laughing. He put his hand over my mouth and gave me a face full of shame, which gave me a good time. Ha ha ha, Fu Yuchen actually really. After that, I seldom saw him again. He shut me up at home and went to work all day. He invited the famous tailor over and taught me how to make a tie hand in hand. I was pricked, tears flowed full of blood. The master could not see it. He made a strip and let me embroider a cloud word. In the end, the battle was over in a hurry with 5 stabs. This period of time Fu Yuchen back very few times, came to also take a document. I learned that during the day when he was at home, he was at work. When he saw the tie and my band-aid, he was touched. Tears, like a pure puppy. But he still doesn't want me to go out. I don't know how long he's going to keep me locked up, and I don't want to be a rabbit that can't jump. Once when he came back, I took the initiative to pull him. What do you want me to do? To forgive me? His attitude was dismissive, and he lifted me up at random. Don't flatter yourself. I don't care about you at all. As for letting you out, it depends on my mood. I unbuttoned it and kindly suggested, shall I restore your dignity? His face went black. Shut the fuck up. Then he stormed out the door. After this, Fu Yunshin does not come. Only his bodyguards bring me fruits and vegetables every day. I even feel like I was born in the apocalypse and raised in captivity. Until one night, I was woken up like that. Fu Yunshin's heavy kisses fell on me, biting lightly and repeatedly. Left a few tooth marks, but also suffused with pain. When he saw me awake, he suddenly tried harder. When my fingers run over my skin, they always leave a red stain. Sleep so happy? No, wrong. He suddenly asked, give me the steps, of course I'll get down. I know the current affairs very much. Admit the mistake immediately. Cloudchin elder brother, I am wrong. His expression was a little distorted, but after a while he asked viciously, are you looking for another man? I shook my head and looked at him disapprovingly. I am looking for a man to support you. He paused, his features glazed over, and finally said, anything else fresh and beautiful? Let's hear it. The expression on his face was less menacing and more exploratory. I sighed. Seriously, if you hadn't lied to me, there wouldn't have been so much trouble. He gave me a silent look and encouraged me to continue. See him this kind of reaction, I suddenly have a gas, want to get before the cowardly gas to vent out. I beat his chest and gritted my teeth. Do you have any idea how much it cost me to get you? You cold-blooded cock who despises me all the time? I got nothing. He stared at me silently and said, go on. I didn't notice anything different about him, and I was still in a state of great joy and sorrow. Seriously, you're a hard nut to crack. You're so flawed and demanding, and I've taken a lot of detours. The more I spoke, the more excited I became, spitting so much that I caught fire until Fu Yunshin pinched my shoulder. Go on. I came to myself, swallowed, and said with a pinch in my throat, Yunshin brother so good, will unconditionally forgive me? Seeing that he didn't react, he still looked at me blankly. I wept and fell on his breast in feigned weakness. Brother Yunshin, don't do this to me. I'm afraid. I glanced at him, but he still showed no expression. I take the initiative to climb on his shoulder, in his ear to talk. He pinched my face with a deadpan smile and said, really? All of them for tonight. That's a bit much. In the foggy bath, Fu Yunshin held me in his arms. Honey, did you have a good time? I lay on his shoulder and almost fell asleep again. Good, good. With a sneer, he pinched my shoulder and pressed me against the cold wall. How many more times? The chill of the thorn brought me out of my sleep again. I shivered and couldn't believe it. Do you really have any more? I didn't expect him to smile and shake his head. There aren't so many. I let out a sigh of relief and hung limply over him, waiting for him to take me to bed. Then he slammed me against the wall, grabbed me by the waist, and snapped. Are you still looking for the bloody Joe? I shook my head in tears, mentally and physically on the verge of collapse. He seemed to be satisfied that my confinement was less severe, but asked another question. Do I matter, or does the money matter? I put my arms around him and said, you and the money are both important. Fu Yunshin was angry with me and left. He allowed me to go out, but someone was following me. Also, don't give me money, and Zhou Lu let the money to return back. I was so angry that I almost swore at him. He really doesn't know how to plan for a rainy day. With that kind of tolerance, you really don't deserve to live with me. When shopping, I always feel a kind of eyes have been following me. Then, I saw the lonely figure of Zhou Lu. Does he still miss me? Wantu and Zhou Lu let together, the idea of emerging again. Zhou Lurong can support him, this capacity, then he is more than a little bit. I'm gonna have to go out of my way to get a job. The Fu Yunshin that does not have magnanimity does not have backbone again, did not have how long to look for a reason to come back casually. Zhou Lu let every day through the strange mobile phone number, and I send messages to chat. He, CC, you're forced to stay with him, right? Me, Aegon, stop it. He'll get angry. This period of time, you deal with him, I will rescue you. I moved to tears, choked emoticon package. He said, hug emoticons. He sent me a bank card number and PIN number. Cece, you've been thrown out of your house and you've stayed with Fu Yujin. How pathetic. I gave it to you. Not much. $1 million or so. Keep it and don't tell anyone. I hold the mobile phone fierce kiss, again regret their choice. Blame it on too little garbage and too early death. Fu Yunqin came out of the bathroom and looked at me questioningly. How can you be so happy without a penny? I switch software. Guilty answer. I've moved on. It's not about money, it's about the person. If you don't give money, you can't spend it. His eyes softened and he came up to the screen of my phone. Startled by the pet black snake on the screen. You want a snake? I'd like to, but I don't have the guts. He persuaded me to give up, threw me a towel, and motioned for me to dry his hair. I picked up the towel and rubbed it around his head in a good mood. The atmosphere in the air wears some warm. Suddenly, he put his arm around me and pressed his face to my stomach. His voice was wistful. Cece, I want a child. My in the mind is startled, the action on the hand all slow. Too early, I don't adapt. He pressed my hand and continued to rub it, regretfully saying, all right. I was relieved that I didn't have to worry about running away with the baby. It's just after this night. He moved more frequently in bed. In fact, having children is his excuse, right? He just wanted to know what it was like to die on a woman. Zhou Lu Jin is thinking of the law to take me away. In one shop, Zhou Lu, dressed as a woman, was holding me again. Cece, did he bully you these days? I pretended to be strong. Brother Aegon, you don't have to worry about me. I'm fine. His eyes feel sorry guilt more heavy, took out an ID card. I gave you a new identity so when you leave, you don't have to worry about him finding you. This guy, he's so good at it. After I received my ID card, he took out 2 more cards. One is the bank card he mentioned before, and the other is also a bank card. The last one had 1 million. This one has 2 million. How many is the next one? I don't want to guess, I want to die in your arms. He said, as long as you follow me, people will only be your money, will only be your... Honey, stop it. My legs are weak. Back home with his feet on cotton, Fu Yunqin stood in the living room with his hands on his chest, his face cold as a bitter woman. I feel guilty close, suddenly found on the table 2 familiar small boxes. One is Fu Yunqin's proposal ring, and the other is a gift from Zhou Lurong at that time. Does he know? I scratched my head and looked at his face, but I could see nothing. The atmosphere is deadlocked, his vision suddenly transferred to the ring, cold hum a sound. Slag girl. I took out the washboard, kneel down. I am Slag girl. He snorted with satisfaction and placed the ring in front of me. We'll do it again the night of the proposal. I stood up quickly, but he suddenly said, you play me and I'll play you. What kind of weird play is this? I don't pick up the box for a long time. He picked up the gift sent by Zhou Road, looking at it faintly. Do you want him? And pretended to be sad and wept. I took the ring with my head empty and knelt down. Yunqin, marry me. He grunted, crossed his legs, and coldly held out his hand. That's more like it. Heaven and earth, I've never done anything like this. He is slandering me. When I put the ring on, I thought it was over. Fu Yunqin again gently kicked me a foot, like a resentful Fu looked at me. I looked at him in disbelief. Do I have to do it all over again? He told me with his eyes, yes. I scowled. It's daylight. He bowed his head and wept silently. I took him into the bedroom again, empty-headed. Yunqin, let's have some fun. What are you going to play with? He asked with the affectation of innocence. I did the same, lifting his chin with a cold face and feeling a frog jump in my stomach. Of course it's fun. He winked vaguely. Then be careful. I don't want to be a father so soon. I want to beat myself to death and then beat him to death. Zhou Lu let me arrange the escape plan is almost ready, but my body was getting tired, lethargic, and nauseous. Especially Fu Yunqin recently always means to stroke my lower abdomen, but also do not love the bed movement. Getting pregnant? That's impossible. One day, I looked at the hospital diagnosis, lost in thought. I went home to look at birth control tools. There are several holes. I realized, for a few days, he wasn't trying to kill himself. Is busy creating life. I wonder if he even knew about me and Cholu Jean. That day you and I were role-playing in the living room. That was on purpose, right? Knowing what was going on with me during the day and still using this move to make me feel guilty. I don't want the baby. I'll let Cholu go first. As luck would have it, tomorrow was the right time to leave. That night, Fu Yunshin put his arm around me and put his hand on my lower abdomen. I heard you went to the hospital. Are you ill? I don't want to say a word to him. He knows all about it. He looked at me as if I had refused to talk and apologized. I don't care what you think, but I want to have a baby. Don't be angry. I'll give you a card. You only have one. Zhou Lurong has many. I was silent with tears in my eyes. He took me into his arms. Don't cry. We're getting married in a few days. I was dumbfounded. What wedding? Why haven't you told me about it? He looked at me confusedly. This is still need to discuss? Children have, of course, to get married. We need to report this before it shows. I watched his expression carefully. He seemed merely puzzled, with no hidden meaning, no cold look. Doesn't he know about my plan with Chao? The gloom in my heart lightened a little. I still have a chance to leave. The next day, Fu Yunshin and go to the company to work as usual and didn't show what unusual. In other words, let me go to the shop to try on my wedding dress and take some pictures for him to see. He didn't seem to realize it, so I was completely relieved. I went out to a designated spot, a lingerie shop. The bodyguard Fu Yunshin sent didn't follow me into the lingerie shop. Zhou Lu let the arrangement of the people have been ready to make up. I was dressed up like a middle-aged man and walked out the back door. To the second appointment point, after the gas station, I also successfully met the driver he sent. The process was so smooth that I was even a little uneasy. Fu Yunshin, is it so easy to cheat? Didn't notice? I'm always on edge, and I still feel this way at the airport. Zhou Lu let see me come, hurried forward to hold me. When he saw my hung up, he thought I was sorry. You can go back if you want. You can still have my money. How is that possible? I justly refused him and hurriedly pretended to be normal. He was a little relieved. The ice stairs at boarding time to arrive also didn't discover what unusual, a hang of heart put down. I guess I'm being paranoid. At security, a man in a hat bowed his head and asked, "Where are you going?" His voice was hoarse. My voice is not convenient to answer. Zhou Lurong said the destination. The staff answered and asked, "What are you going to do?" Zhou Lurong answered again. I suspect, how do me and Zhou Lu let so interested? I was just about to pull him away from the staff. Suddenly, he took off his hat, revealing a face all too familiar. You want to run away with the baby, wife? It's Fu Yunshin. My instinct was to run. His men were blocking everything around me. I was forced to leave Zhou Lu and he took me to the wedding. Backstage, the makeup artist hurriedly applied my makeup. Fu Yunshin in the side cold hum. You really have no self-knowledge. I have more money than him and I am more capable than him. You want to go with him when your children are mine? I intolerance and shouted, "Damn, you don't give me any money? You treat me like a bum? Sometimes I feel like I'm your babysitter, your mama. Damn it, you don't even pay for the care." Iron cock, peel Joe. Fu Yunshin facial expression is gloomy, still want to look for me to settle accounts, endure it again. I cried my way through the ceremony with no makeup on my face. Someone filmed it and posted it on the internet, saying I was a fairy in tears. They all exclaimed that I was moved to tears. Someone else asked me for the same makeup. I said no, the makeup artist did it to me. The makeup artist became popular and made a lot of money. He kindly gave me a big red envelope. Thanks for the recommendation, Madam Fu. I hear your heart up. Please accept my compliments. Even makeup artists know worldly wisdom. I don't want to and Fu Yunshin together. He seemed to be aware of it, too, and often bought me things in an attempt to placate me. But I don't want things. I want money. And he made a long temper. Before the child was born, I didn't, and he said a few words. He was so worried that at last the lawyer suggested that there could be a community of property. He caught on in an instant. I'd like to offer you the agreement. When I got married, the property went to both of us. When I got divorced, I got all the money. I am relieved, but also for the first time to give him a smile. He was so happy that he cried, but I won't tell him. The lawyer's suggestion. I arranged it.